The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the empty highway. The heat of the day still lingered in the air, making the asphalt shimmer. 3 boys, Jamal, Dion, and Malik, were walking home after a long day of playing basketball on the cracked courts of their small town. That's when they saw it, a sleek black Bentley parked awkwardly on the side of the road, its rear tire completely flat. A man in a tailored suit stood next to it, looking frustrated and out of place. "Yo, that's a rich man's car," Dion whispered. "Duh," Malik smirked. "And that's a rich man, too." The man noticed them and sighed. "Boys, you wouldn't happen to know how to change a tire, would you?" Jamal, the oldest, stepped forward. "Yeah, we got you." They worked together, their hands quickly loosening the bolts and replacing the tire with the spare. The billionaire, who introduced himself as Mr. Langston, watched in amazement. "You guys are sharp," he said, dusting off his hands when they finished. "And hardworking." Malik grinned. "We just help when we can." Langston chuckled, pulled out his wallet, and held out a crisp $100 bill. "For your trouble." Jamal shook his head. "Nah, we don't need that." Langston raised an eyebrow. "Really?" Jamal nodded. "We ain't do it for money." The billionaire studied them for a moment, then nodded. "All right, boys. I'll see you around." He got into his car and drove off into the night. The next day, the boys never expected to see Mr. Langston again. But the very next afternoon, a convoy of luxury cars rolled into their neighborhood, stopping right in front of Jamal's house. The doors opened, and out stepped Mr. Langston, along with a few people in suits. "Boys," he called, smiling. "I told you I'd see you around." The neighborhood kids gathered, watching in awe. Langston gestured toward the cars. "I was impressed with you 3, he said. "Not just because you helped me, but because you refused my money. That tells me something about your character. So, I decided to do something for you." The boys exchanged confused glances. "I own several companies. And I believe in giving opportunities to people who deserve them," Langston continued. "Starting today, you'll each have full scholarships to the best private school in the state. You'll also have mentors, real business leaders, to guide you. And when you're ready, internships at my companies." Silence. Then Dion stammered, "You serious?" Langston grinned. "Dead serious." Tears welled in Jamal's eyes. Malik's mouth hung open. Dion was speechless. Langston patted Jamal's shoulder. "This is just the beginning, boys. The future is yours, if you're ready to take it." The news of Mr. Langston's offer spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Some people were excited for the boys, others skeptical. After all, rich men didn't just appear out of nowhere and change lives. That night, Jamal sat on his front porch, staring at the sky. The stars seemed closer, brighter, like his future had suddenly expanded beyond the limits of his small town. But a part of him felt uneasy. "Yo, you think this is real?" Dion asked, plopping down beside him. "Like, what if he changes his mind?" Malik leaned against the railing. "Man's a billionaire. If he wanted to lie, he wouldn't have to show up in the first place." Jamal exhaled. "Yeah, but it's a lot, you know? Private school? Business mentors? Feels like a different world." "It is a different world," Malik said. "And we about to be in it. A new beginning." 2 weeks later, a driver picked them up in a polished black SUV. They arrived at Berkshire Academy, a place so fancy it felt unreal, pristine white buildings, a massive sports complex, and students who looked like they stepped out of a movie. The transition wasn't easy. From day one, they felt like outsiders. Most students came from wealthy families, spoke with confidence, and had been groomed for success since birth. The boys, on the other hand, were used to public school, where survival meant blending in, not standing out. At lunch, they sat together, eyes scanning the cafeteria. A group of rich kids sneered in their direction. Langston's charity cases, one of them muttered. Dion's fists clenched, but Jamal shook his head. Not worth it. Instead, they focused on the opportunity. Classes were tough, but Jamal excelled in math, Dion in business, and Malik in technology. They spent evenings buried in textbooks, determined to prove they belonged. A hard lesson. One day, Mr. Langston invited them to his company's headquarters, a towering skyscraper in the heart of the city. I want you to understand how business works, he told them. This is more than just an education, I'm preparing you for leadership. He introduced them to executives, let them sit in on meetings, and even gave them their first business challenge: come up with an idea for a product that could help their community. Excited, they spent weeks brainstorming. Finally, they pitched an idea, an app that connected small businesses in underserved neighborhoods with local customers. Langston listened carefully, then smiled. This has potential. But not everyone believed in them. One evening, as they left a meeting, they overheard two executives whispering. They're just kids from the streets, one scoffed. Langston's little experiment. They'll never make it. The words stung. For the first time, doubt crept in. That night, Malik considered quitting. Maybe we ain't built for this. But Jamal's eyes burned with determination. No. We are built for this. We just gotta prove it. The next morning, Jamal, Dion, and Malik walked into school with renewed determination. They weren't just here to take up space, they were here to win. The pitch that changed everything. With Langston's encouragement, they refined their business idea. Their app, Neighborhood Connect, was designed to help small, struggling businesses gain exposure and connect with local customers. One evening, Langston called them to his office. You're ready, he said. Tomorrow, you'll pitch your idea to a panel of real investors. If they believe in it, you'll get funding. Excitement turned to nerves. These weren't teachers, they were actual millionaires and CEOs. The next day, they stepped into a glass-walled conference room. 5 investors sat before them, eyes sharp, waiting to be impressed. Jamal took a deep breath and led the pitch. He explained how small businesses in their community were often overlooked, how big chains pushed them out, and how their app would level the playing field. Malik demonstrated the prototype. Dion handled the financials, proving how the app could generate revenue. Silence. Then one investor leaned forward. You're young, but this idea has merit. Another nodded. With some refinement, this could be huge. Langston smiled. So, are you in? One by one, the investors agreed. The boys had just secured their first round of funding, $500,000. Success and betrayal. With funding in place, they worked non-stop. Malik handled app development, Dion worked on marketing, and Jamal networked with business owners. Soon, Neighborhood Connect launched. It was an instant hit. Local barbershops, restaurants, and mom-and-pop stores joined, and customers flooded in. The app wasn't just making money, it was changing lives. But success brought challenges. One day, Jamal got a call from Langston. We have a problem, he said. An investor, one of the same men who funded them, was trying to take control of the company. He wants to buy you out for cheap and flip it for millions, Langston explained. If you sign, you'll get a quick payday, but you'll lose everything you built. It was tempting. None of them had ever seen real money before. A few $100,000 each could change their families' lives. But Jamal clenched his jaw. No deal. Dion hesitated. Bro, are you sure? That's real money. Jamal looked at his friends. We didn't build this to sell out. We built it to help our people. Malik nodded. Then we fight for it. Langston grinned. That's what I was hoping you'd say. A dark truth revealed. As they fought to keep control of their company, Langston called them in for a private meeting. There's something I never told you, he said. I grew up just like you. Same struggles, same streets. Someone gave me a shot, and I promised I'd do the same one day. The boys were stunned. I didn't pick you at random, Langston continued. I saw myself in you. And I knew you had what it takes. Jamal swallowed hard. So, this was all a test? Langston shook his head. No, son. This was an opportunity. And you earned it. With Langston's legal team behind them, they outmaneuvered the investor trying to take over their company. Neighborhood Connect remained theirs. The future is theirs. Months later, they stood on stage at a major tech conference, accepting an award for innovation. Jamal looked at Malik and Dion. We really did it. Dion smirked. Nah, we just getting started. Malik grinned. The world ain't ready for us. From three boys on a dusty road to rising business moguls, their story had only just begun. More money, more problems. The success of Neighborhood Connect spread beyond their hometown. Within months, it expanded to cities across the state, drawing national attention. Journalists called them the young kings of tech, and even celebrities started endorsing their app. But with success came bigger enemies. One afternoon, Malik barged into their office, face pale. Yo, we got a problem. He turned his laptop around, showing a breaking news article. Tech giant Metrolink announces new app to support small businesses, a direct competitor to Neighborhood Connect. Jamal clenched his fists. They're trying to steal our market. Dion shook his head. Nah, bruh. They're trying to crush us. Metrolink was a billion-dollar corporation. If they wanted to take over, they had the money, resources, and influence to do it. A dangerous offer. Days later, a sleek black car pulled up outside their office. A man in an expensive suit stepped out, Damon Cross, CEO of Metrolink. I admire what you boys built, he said smoothly. But let's be real, you can't compete with us. Sell the company to Metrolink, and you'll all walk away millionaires. Jamal folded his arms. And if we don't? Cross smiled. Then we'll do what we do best, dominate. We'll make your app irrelevant. Malik gritted his teeth. We built this for our community, not to sell out. Cross chuckled. Principles are nice. But they don't pay the bills. He slid a contract across the table. Think it over. Clock's ticking. The war begins. That night, they called Langston. Metrolink is coming for us, Jamal said. Langston leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. I knew this day would come. So, what do we do? Malik asked. Langston smirked. We fight back. And so, the battle began. Metrolink poured millions into advertising, overshadowing them in app stores. They pressured small businesses to leave Neighborhood Connect, offering better deals. Investors started getting nervous. Even some of their own employees began jumping ship. One night, Dion slammed his laptop shut. "We're losing, man." Jamal rubbed his temples. "No. We need to think different. Metrolink plays corporate warfare. We play street strategy. The hustle move." Instead of fighting Metrolink head-on, they went underground. They hit the streets, going directly to barbershops, food trucks, and community businesses. They hosted local events, spread word through social media, and got celebrities to back them for free. Soon, Metrolink had all the money, but Neighborhood Connect had the culture. The turning point came when a viral video showed a small business owner tearing up. "This app saved my store. I don't care about Metrolink, I'm staying with Neighborhood Connect." The people had chosen their side. Cross's last move. One night, Langston called them urgently. "Cross isn't done. He's planning something dirty." Minutes later, Malik's phone buzzed. A leaked news article accused them of fraud. Metrolink had planted fake documents, trying to destroy their reputation. Jamal's jaw clenched. "They really trying to play us like that?" Langston smirked. "Then let's hit M where it hurts." The next morning, they flipped the script, releasing proof of Metrolink's shady tactics. News outlets exploded. Investors dropped Metrolink's stock. Days later, Damon Cross resigned in disgrace. And just like that, Neighborhood Connect had won. A billion-dollar decision. Months later, a new offer came in from a different company. $1.2 billion. Dion stared at the contract. "We really about to be billionaires?" Malik hesitated. "But if we sell, it ain't ours no more." Jamal exhaled. "Then we got one question, is the mission complete?" Silence. Then Jamal grinned. "Nah, we just getting started." Power moves. Jamal, Dion, and Malik sat in their penthouse office, staring at the contract. $1.2 billion. Enough money to change their families' lives forever. Enough money to never work again. Dion exhaled. "Bruh. I could retire today." Malik frowned. "But at what cost? If we sell, we lose control. What if they ruin the app? What if they don't care about the people?" Jamal stayed silent, staring out the window at the city skyline. They had built something real. But was it time to let go? Then his phone rang. It was Langston. "Boys, let's talk." The offer behind the offer. Langston met them at an exclusive rooftop lounge. He sipped his drink, watching them carefully. "This ain't just about money," he finally said. "The people making this offer? They're not just buying an app. They're buying your influence." Jamal narrowed his eyes. "Meaning?" Langston leaned in. "They see you as a threat. 3 young black entrepreneurs who built something without them. If they buy you out, they control you. They'll either shut it down or use it for their own agenda." Dion clenched his jaw. "So what do we do?" Langston smirked. "Flip the game on them. The counterattack." Instead of selling, they expanded. They turned down the billion-dollar offer publicly, making headlines. Instead, they secured new investors, black-owned banks, cultural leaders, even former NBA players who believed in the mission. Then they announced Neighborhood Connect 2.0, a massive expansion into new cities and even international markets. Metrolink had tried to kill them. Now, they were coming for Metrolink's market. Betrayal from within. But not everyone was on board. One night, Malik got an anonymous email. Leaked documents. Inside? Proof that someone inside their company was secretly negotiating behind their backs, trying to sell their shares to outside investors. The traitor? Dion. Brothers or business? Jamal slammed the documents on the table. Tell me this ain't real. Dion's face tightened. Look, man. I wasn't gonna sell everything. But we gotta think smart. We can't win forever. Taking some money off the table ain't a bad move. Malik shook his head. You really went behind our backs? Dion sighed. I been broke my whole life, man. I ain't trying to go back. Y'all talking legacy, I'm talking survival. Silence. Jamal exhaled. We built this together. But if you don't believe in the mission anymore, maybe you shouldn't be part of it. Dion looked at him, then at Malik. Finally, he nodded. I guess this is where we part ways. And just like that, the trio became a duo. The rise of an empire. Even without Dion, Neighborhood Connect thrived. They expanded into Africa, South America, and Europe. They partnered with celebrities, launched new ventures, and even started a tech academy for underprivileged youth. Then, 2 years later, Langston called Jamal with an idea. You boys started with an app. But what if you built something bigger? A bank. A media company. A tech empire. Jamal smirked. You saying we go from millionaires to billionaires? Langston raised a glass. I'm saying you change the world. And so, the young kings of tech made their next move. They weren't just players in the game anymore. They were writing the rules. New levels, new devils. Jamal and Malik were no longer just tech entrepreneurs. They were revolutionaries. With Langston as their mentor, they expanded beyond Neighborhood Connect. They launched Crown Industries, a conglomerate focusing on tech, finance, and media. They weren't just making apps anymore. They were building an empire. But power attracts enemies. And one of them was an old friend. The return of Dion. It had been 2 years since Dion walked away. While Jamal and Malik had built Crown Industries, Dion had taken a different path. He had partnered with Damon Cross, the disgraced former CEO of Metrolink. Now, they had their own tech startup, Titan Global. And their first move? A direct attack on Crown Industries. The betrayal. One morning, Malik burst into Jamal's office, slamming his laptop down. You seen this? On the screen was a press release. Titan Global acquires Metrolink. New leaders, same mission, to dominate the tech world. And at the bottom? A photo of Dion, standing next to Damon Cross, grinning. Jamal's stomach turned. So that's how he wants to play it. Malik's eyes burned. Dion knows everything about us. Our strategies, our weaknesses. This ain't just business. This is war. A battle on all fronts. Titan Global launched a direct competitor to Neighborhood Connect. But they didn't stop there. They tried stealing Crown's employees, offering them double the salary. They spread rumors to investors, making it seem like Crown was in trouble. And worst of all, they got into politics. Titan Global partnered with powerful government figures, pushing for laws that would cripple Crown's businesses. Jamal exhaled. They're trying to cut off our power at the source. Langston nodded. They're not just coming for your company. They're coming for your legacy. A dangerous choice. One night, Jamal received an anonymous message. Meet me. I have information that could destroy Titan Global. The sender? An ex-employee of Titan. Malik was skeptical. Could be a trap. Jamal's jaw clenched. Or it could be what we need to take them down. That night, he arrived at a dark parking garage. A man stepped out of the shadows. I worked for Dion. I know what he's planning. Jamal folded his arms. Talk. The man handed him a flash drive. Titan Global ain't just playing dirty. They're laundering money. Through offshore accounts. Through shell companies. And Dion knows. Jamal's stomach turned. If this was true, Dion wasn't just a rival. He was a criminal. The man hesitated. But if you expose this, it won't just destroy Titan Global. It could destroy Dion. Jamal gritted his teeth. This wasn't just business anymore. This was personal. The decision. Jamal returned to his office, staring at the flash drive. Malik leaned against the desk. So? We dropping the bomb? Langston exhaled. If you do this, there's no going back. Jamal's fists clenched. He came after us. He tried to destroy us. Malik nodded. So we end him. Jamal plugged in the flash drive. A single keystroke. And the war was about to change forever. Checkmate. Jamal stared at the flash drive, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. If he leaked this information, Dion would be finished. His company, his career, his freedom, gone. Malik watched him closely. What's the move, bro? Langston exhaled. Sometimes, power isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about making them irrelevant. Jamal thought for a long moment. Then, slowly, he pulled the flash drive out and set it down. We're not gonna destroy Dion. Malik's eyes widened. You serious? Jamal smirked. We're gonna make him destroy himself. The long game. Instead of going public with the evidence, they leaked small pieces of information to the right people, journalists, investors, and government officials. Soon, whispers of financial corruption began spreading. Titan Global's stock price plummeted. Major investors pulled out. Their government allies distanced themselves. And then, the final blow. The FBI launched an official investigation. One morning, the news broke. Titan Global under federal investigation for fraud and money laundering. Dion was cornered. The last conversation. Days later, Jamal received a call. It was Dion. Meet me. One last time. Jamal agreed. They met at a small, quiet diner, the same one they used to eat at when they were kids. Dion looked different. Tired. Defeated. He chuckled bitterly. So this is how it ends, huh? Jamal sipped his coffee. You did this to yourself. Dion exhaled. I was just trying to survive, man. Jamal shook his head. Nah. You were chasing money. But money without a mission? That's just greed. Dion looked down. So what now? You gonna let them bury me? Jamal studied him for a moment. Then, he slid a folder across the table. Inside were legal documents. A deal. If you step down and sell Titan Global, I'll make sure you don't go to prison. Dion's hands trembled as he picked up the papers. Why? After everything, why would you do this? Jamal sighed. Because we started this together. And I'd rather see you walk away than see you get locked up. For the first time in years, Dion looked at him not as a rival, but as a brother. He nodded. Aight. You win. And just like that, Titan Global was no more. The legacy lives on. With their biggest rival gone, Crown Industries became unstoppable. Neighborhood Connect expanded worldwide. They launched Crown Media, giving voices to Black entrepreneurs. Jamal and Malik weren't just tech moguls anymore. They were kings. One evening, they sat on the rooftop of their headquarters, looking out at the city. Malik smirked. We really did it, huh? Jamal nodded. Yeah. But we ain't done yet. Langston, standing beside them, smiled proudly. You boys took a billionaire's promise and turned it into an empire. Jamal raised a glass. To the next generation. And with that, their story became legend.